Welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Day one of the postseason is in the books. 4 games played, 4 games ended, a lot of fun results. Let's talk all about it. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. We are a podcast. We talk about baseball, Major League Baseball. We're coming to you live from the Roosevelt Studios in the Bronx. That's rsvlts.com/Jomboy. Get 20% off some nice, fun shirts. My name's Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. We got Trevor Plouffe, former Minnesota Twin, rocking a Twins jersey, right? You are wearing a Twins jersey? It's cut off right now.
I am.
He's coming from California, and producer Bug Dude behind the dish. We had 4 games yesterday. We got to recap all 4 games. I'm already losing my voice, and we're at day 1 of this shit. So I'm excited. Jake, how are you doing?
I'm good, James. Our Yanks have us in a pretty good mood. They shocked the world yesterday. I think one of my final words on Talking Baseball was, such a guaranteed under in Bieber Cole.
Guaranteed.
And that's what happened for sure there. I'm good. I'm happy with the results. I think the one thing, the Houston-Minnesota game, we'll obviously deep dive into that one, but otherwise, the Rays kind of won in Rays fashion. The Yanks opened up a can. And a friend of the family, Lucas Giolito, dropped some serious D yesterday, which was awesome to see. So, and I can't even wrap my head around today's slate. So that's kind of where I'm at.
And we'll get to that. I believe we put yesterday's pregame show on this feed on the podcast apps. It won't be there going forward. So if you enjoyed that, Jake went 3 for 4, Trev went 3 for 4, I went 4 for 4. So collectively, we crushed it as a podcast. That's like a very impressive record. I'm not great at math, but I believe it's 10 for 12.
Nobody knows.
4, 8, 12. Yeah. Trev, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I enjoyed the slate of games yesterday. I have some questions. I wish I could get a Zoom call with some of the managers, and we'll get into it. But there were some plays yesterday and some moves I didn't agree with. But all the other games kind of went how we maybe thought they were going to go, besides the Yankees just absolutely demolishing the baseball against the best pitcher in baseball this year.
Yeah, I do think the Twins game, not a lot of people had it incredibly pegged from Dusty's decisions and from the lack of offense from Minnesota. We'll get into that. We have 4 games today. Tomorrow we're going to have 8 games, so how we're formatting these recaps is Bug Dude's going to put 10 minutes on the clock for each game. It's a hard out. We don't want to get lost down the rabbit hole discussing one single game for 15 to 20 minutes. If we don't hit 10 minutes on one game, the minutes do roll over, and we get more for another if we need it. As soon as Trev's back, okay? You ready, Trev?
I'm born ready,
And
baby.
for anyone who wasn't here last postseason, we are a Chron pod. We go chronicle order. And Trev smoked so much chronic, he lit Malibu on fire right now. All right. Game 1 was Minnesota versus the Astros. I'm correct there? If you are not familiar with what happened, the Astros won. Minnesota kind of crumbled in devastating fashion in the 9th inning. Trev, this is your team. This is the game that you say you have a lot of takes about. I'll let you just open up. If you want to give a little recap and then whatever you want to go into on this game, let us know.
All right. I mean, look, it was Maeda versus Greinke, and it kind of lived up to the billing of 2 guys, seemingly at the top of the game. I know Greinke kind of struggled going into the playoffs, but he returned to form. He looked good, and interestingly enough, I think taking him out was one of the best decisions that could have been made. Even though he had only given up 1 run, they brought in Framber Valdez, who was going to start today if he didn't pitch. So Dusty said, you know what? I like our chances this game, apparently, brought him in, and he was lights out. I mean, Framber Valdez, friend of the pod, came in and just shoved.
He's a friend of the pod?
We always just loved his name. That's
the Framber Alert's great.
Framber Alert's great. So, yeah, I mean, look, Maeda did his job. The Twins' bats were silenced by Greinke and Framber, and my takes are really all against Rocco, which sucks because I love Rocco.
Your guy.
Couple different things went on that I wasn't a fan of. I want to let you guys have your time, but
hit him.
Okay. Fifth inning comes around. You got 2 runners on, nobody out. Byron Buxton up to the plate. I know you're not supposed to bunt, but in the playoffs, things are different. Byron can bunt, and Byron bunting isn't the same. It's not like really a sacrifice bunt. Like, if it's a sacrifice, that's probably the worst thing that happens to the Twins. If he puts the ball down on the ground with a lefty pitcher in, puts it on the third baseline, he's probably going to be safe. We saw Bregman make a few really good plays over there, but it wasn't Byron Buxton running. It was Nelson Cruz and Miguel Sano. So that's one thing. They ended up not scoring any runs that inning. And then the other 2 questionable calls were the pinch hitting. Jeffers started at catcher over Garver, seemingly for offense. Garver struggled this year. Then it comes time in I think it was the 6th or 7th inning. Garver pinch hits for Jeffers. Cold, strikes out, looking, I believe, and then you have to bring in Avila, who's your third catcher, and then he comes up in a big spot in the 9th, and you pinch hit La Tortuga for him. So I guess there was just no depth on the bench. You brought up one of your best hitting prospects. He's just sitting there. Like, if you're going to bring a guy up, and he can hit, either don't pinch hit or pinch hit that guy, because Tortuga is not the answer. And he swung at the first pitch, grounded into a double play, game over. A lot of questionable moves. Twins did not look great. The bullpen was wishy-washy. I'm not going to lay it all on Romo because I think obviously there was an error there. He did walk Altuve to put the go-ahead run in. But a lot of bad things happening with the Twins, and everyone's just going to say 17 games in a row now they've lost in the postseason. And it's ridiculous. That's why I have my blood red jersey on. It's all or nothing today.
Yeah. All right. Good. Jake, you want to take
the Buxton thing's a really interesting point, Trev, because that's again, Buxton had been mashing the ball and hitting all these homers and looking nuts, and he's saying, I can end this game. I can make it a 4-0 game. It does spin a little bit into Jake's theory of what does the other team not want to see? If you're Houston and you're losing 1-0 and you got 2 runners on, Framber just came in. God, I would hate to see Buxton lay down a bunt and put pressure on the defense and all of that.
If Alex Bregman, he was shaking, bro. I got to make a play right now?
Yeah. And you're right. And Buxton's different speed. The bunt doesn't have to be great. And even if you do get them and they make a great play, you're second and third. You're set up for the wild pitch. You're set up for a sac fly. You're set up for that. So that is interesting in hindsight. And I do love what you're saying about the catchers. They carried all these catchers. The Jeffers start. I'm not going to kill them for. I don't watch every Twins game, so I can't dive deep enough into it. And I know Garver struggled, but if you start a guy for offensive reasons and he doesn't get hit, that looks like a bad managerial decision. And hey, Framber, I think everyone questioned it. Greinke didn't have his A stuff. He had 3 walks and 1 K, but he battled, and that's why you rely on veterans in the postseason. And hey, shout out to Dusty, shout out to Framber. Dusty said he had a plan, and everyone kind of laughed.
That's what I want to talk about.
And Framber comes in, he walks those first batters, and then he absolutely drops it for 5 innings. That curveball was wipeout. So, I mean, shout out to them. And we haven't talked a lot of Houston yet. A lot of guys in that box score contributed. And I think that is a big factor and feeling in the postseason when you have to work to get through everyone.
Yeah. I want to talk about Dusty's plan and the use of the Astros pitching. Because we're in an era. We are seeing a format we have never seen before. The 3-game wild card elimination we've never seen. So we're seeing a lot of guys get cute with it. In 4 games, we saw 2 teams get super cute. We're about to see more NL teams get cute, fancy, and try to outsmart the situation. It worked, so I love it.
Yeah.
even if it didn't work, I think I love it. They didn't burn a single relief pitcher. They have, Urquidy and Javier, I think, and the full bullpen today, game 2, and then McCullers 3. I think that's the plan. I love that they said we had a plan and they weren't bullshitting. Like, we're not going to tell you, but we do have a plan. And the plan was, let's get through game 1 with our 2 best starting pitchers, and they'll split it, piggyback it, and we won't burn any bullpen. And they did have to burn someone in the end, right? Frambert?
No, Framber finished it off. They had Presley up.
He did 2 singles in the double play.
They had Presley up.
Yeah.
But 79 pitches from Greinke, 66 by Valdez through the final 5 innings of a game. Insane. I think it was the last time this has happened in the postseason since that Mad Bum Game 7 nut job performance.
Yeah.
And, I think the other things that we kind of haven't talked about, Reddick was having a bad day. The Cruz double bounces off the wall, goes over his head.
I wanted to make that point. It's a little mean to Twins fans.
It's playoff baseball. Kepler scores by a foot. He gets in there. If Reddick feels that cleanly, who knows what happens? What a relay by Correa. Jesus Christ. What was it? 91, you said, from StatCast? Correa thrown from the infield?
Oh, yeah. If Reddick plays that ball properly, the Twins are shut out.
What did he do wrong? I watched the play. What did he do wrong? It went over his head.
It bounced over the wall
and then it bounced over
his head. If he got too close to the wall there, and he was a little lackadaisical.
It's a tough play.
If he grabs that and doesn't have to track it down, and he didn't track it down with much haste,
It's Trev, I understand what you're saying.
It's a hit, they would have had 2 on to continue the inning. So, they still probably would have scored there.
It was a moment of playoff baseball where you're looking back and you're like, is that going to be the difference in this game? It's a 1-0 game. If Josh Reddick, known as a really, solid fielder, if he fields that cleanly off the wall, what are we doing? And then, I think the 2 things that kind of need to be hit on still are Polanco at short and obviously the play.
Well, also, they tied the game on a ball that Marwin couldn't. It's a hot shot to third, but you've seen third basemen change innings. What's that?
2 minutes. There's a 2-minute warning.
All right. I thought you were playing the pterodactyl soundbite. Hot shot to third. Maldonado beats out an infield single to score the tying run, and then Polanco throws it away. And if you're a Twins fan, it's just now you're like, fuck us, 17 straight.
The Polanco one was bad. Marwin's was a hot shot. It's a do-or-die play. I really don't think Reddick did. I saw people coming at him, but I don't think that was that poor of a play.
I don't think it was incredibly
under the
poor.
Overhang there is a very tough field to play. A lot of people misplay balls out there, including if you're a Twins right fielder. It makes for a tough play. Really, I thought the play of the game, and it happened twice. It was Alex Bregman at third base coming in on slow rollers. The first inning, Miguel Sano hits one, saves a run. That changes the whole outcome of the game, or whole outlook of the game right there in the first inning. And he did it twice. Once with Sano, once with Cruz, I believe. So, just the Twins lost that game. You got to just say, look, we lost that game. They played well. We didn't play so well. So, boom, put it in your rearview mirror and come back.
I have one quick question before time runs out.
Do it.
Tyler Duffy, Trev, bad outing by him. I think he got 2 outs, and then it goes single, and the third out is Maldonado baiting the throw to let the runner score and getting out on the base paths. Bad base.
That was horrible.
A lot of base runners will tell you I was baiting the throw. I think that was bad base running.
He wasn't baiting the throw.
I don't think so either.
Maybe in his head he was. He didn't
you hear runners say that.
He'll tell you. He was.
Duffy. Jake and I we see Chad Green, Zach Britton, Ottavino, and we see
formerly Ottavino.
But the Yankees are very spoiled with their bullpen. Like Romo in a tie game, Jake and I are both like, we like Romo. Well, this is pretty scary. Are you have still the confidence you had in the bullpen that you did before, or do you think it's a little? Has that changed?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I think they went a little off-speed heavy yesterday. Obviously, not talking about Romo because that's what he does.
Yep.
And that was interesting to hear Eduardo Perez being like, these guys should sit slider. They got to sit slider. I'm like, everybody's sitting slider. It's Sergio Romo.
I think, maybe the casual fans don't know that. They should have presented it in.
There was a guy with a good Twitter thread about that yesterday, though, so that was cool.
Honestly, it was ridiculous. I was like laughing. I was like, you guys, have you watched Sergio Romo pitch before? But I do have confidence in the bullpen. Trevor May looked good. I think Duffy relied on his off speed a little bit too much there. But yeah, look, you just got to bounce back.
Hey, right. And playoff notes you could say about any game. Twins 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Houston 2 for 9. And hey, Michael Brantley, Teal Bar's got some nasty lefty stuff. Brantley stays in there and essentially ends the game. Baby. Yeah.
All
right. And not a cheater.
Not a cheater. Moving on. Game 2 of the day was the A's versus the White Sox. Damn, my voice is gone. Luzardo gives up 3 runs, and Giolito barely gives up any hits. Took a perfect game through 6, was it? Into the 6? I forget. I love this locked-in look Giolito gives. I thought this was a scared decision by the A's to start Luzardo in this game. Tim Anderson said, do you not have the scouting report on us? Tim Anderson, I think he had 2 hits in his first 2 at-bats against Luzardo. So I love that he came to task after saying, like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Really like that. Tim Anderson had 3 hits. Abreu had 2 hits. Both those guys went into the playoffs incredibly cold. So they flipped the switch a little bit there. The story's Lucas Giolito. I wanted to see how he pitched, Trev. If he like dominated, like quick outs. He had 2 quick innings. Other than that, the A's never got anything going, but he had 6 3-ball counts. Like, it's not like he was breezing through everyone. Now, the bottom of the order, he took care of, besides Laureano. Well, he's a little low for me anyway. Maybe he's struggling. I don't know. But that's kind of what I got. I mean, we got to talk about Giolito. The A's, they didn't see a lot of pitches. The bottom of the order breezed through. Kana only saw 8 pitches, and one of them he worked a walk. So he's giving quick outs. Sean Murphy, he averaged 3 pitches in that bat, and so did Pinder. So a lot of the bottom of the lineup gave Giolito easy outs. When the top was working his pitch count, I think could have knocked him out a little earlier. They had him at, what did I say? They had him at 40-something pitches after 3.
41 through 3. Yeah, I don't know. That's still a decent pitch count. I like what you're saying
Not
about
to go
the bottom
into the
of the order, though. If the bottom order did their part,
yeah,
you could get Giolito out by the 6, and I think you feel a lot better.
I was expecting him to be like 1-2-3 inning, 1-2-3 inning, like 4 pitch at bat, 3 pitch at bat, and it was a lot of deep.
And go look at the reliever stats, quick, Jim. They had some pretty quick at bats too, and Marshall, Bummer, Colomé, again, not your Pops' favorite relievers that you might know, but they do their job yesterday. This story is Giolito, and he's your guy, Trev. So I hate kicking it to you, but. Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about 3-ball counts, that's the A's. That's what they want. They want to work the pitcher. So, yes, like the top of the order did their job, I guess, in that regard. But, yeah, when you're going up a guy like Giolito, who's in that, like, freak show mentality out there, kind of like dancing, like he's actually skyrocketing up my Hot Boys of Summer list like, with what he's doing on the mound right now. Like, you're performing. You're also, like, in this zone where you look like you're in a different world. Like, he doesn't care who's in the box right now. He is just doing his thing, throwing high changeups, basically reinventing the way people pitch. But he was a stud yesterday. And then Abreu, who just continues his dick-dropping mega world tour in 2020. He's the only one that's allowed to be touring right now because everything's shut down. But Jose Abreu is like, you know what? I got to do it for the people. And he had a bomb against Luzardo. And yeah, like you said, Tim Anderson looks like a genius now, or at least looks like, wow, he was really right. Don't start a left-hander against us. We're 15-0 now.
Yeah. And Adam Engel's the other guy you got to talk about.
And that was my thing coming into this game. I said that the A's are either going to feel great and the White Sox are going to be deflated because their perfect record's going to be gone, or the A's are going to be sitting there feeling dumb because the White Sox beat another lefty. We talk, 0 for 17 is an insane number for the Twins, and when you really think about that, 17 games. Hey, how about 15 the opposite direction for the White Sox versus lefties? And Timmer Fredette, my other thing on this is, and this kind of ties to the Yankees game later, the White Sox, they limped into this a little bit, but who do they have? Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu. Those guys get hits in the first inning. They don't score. Luzardo gets the last out of the inning. But as a White Sox fan, you're like, okay, I've got Tim Anderson. I've got Abreu. I've got Giolito on the bump. Let's do this damn thing. And for the A's, maybe this is a little biased because I picked the A's to win the series. I do think you can kind of wash your hands of this and say, hey, the bad man pitched yesterday. Giolito did his thing. When he's right, he dictates what's going to happen, but he's done. Now you're the A's. You've got Bassett on the bump. At the same time, Keuchel's coming. But you say the bad man's gone. Let's go get it today. We're still in Oakland. But damn, man. Good for Giolito. This takes him up a... You guys have your book. I don't talk about my book a lot. Not a reader. This brings up Lucas Giolito a little earlier in my book. This was big for him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about the pregame show of game 2, but Keuchel, I love Keuchel, so I got a lot of faith in him. I mean, Engel has a home run and a double off Luzardo. The home run was on an 0-2 pitch, and maybe the worst 0-2 pitch in the history. Tied with 1,000 other 0-2 pitches for worst 0-2 pitch ever.
Yeah.
But a fastball right down the middle, 0-2. That's about as bad as an 0-2 pitch as you can get. And he banged it. So I think
always one guy who shows up that isn't supposed to show up. I'm not saying Engel's going to be the guy, but we always get one guy during the playoffs for a team that makes a run. It's like, oh, we're getting production out of this guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was a big home run.
I mean, the White Sox didn't walk, Trev. They didn't have one walk.
It's not good.
They had 9 hits. They didn't have one walk.
They're not walkers.
I know, but they swing. They swing a lot. They have a high chase rate. I mean, I don't know.
And hey, this is a kind of a weird way to look at things, but that's how I live my life. The yes man, Yasmani Grandal, hits a homer in this game, and he was like the only catcher to really contribute offensively yesterday. So hey, I don't know. That can be a difference maker. Maybe not necessarily in this game. It gave them another insurance run, which does feel good come playoff time. But yeah, good for Yasmani.
And it was a bomb, and
he's like a bonus piece on that offense when they're right, which is pretty nuts. Hey, maybe don't throw a lefty.
Yeah,
maybe don't do that.
Yeah, especially a rookie lefty.
Yeah,
if it was Keuchel going up against the White Sox, then you're like, all right, well, Keuchel's lefty, but sure, he's a veteran and he's like been having a great season. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else on this game?
They didn't even have to pitch croquet last night.
Your guy.
My guy. I don't know, man. I think that the A's are in a tough position. Bassett is going to have to do a Giolito. He's going to have to do a Giolito. Because I don't see them coming out and scoring a ton of runs off Keuchel. He's going to do a Jimmy start. What's the Jimmy good start line?
Like 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. They did save a good amount of bullpen to do that with Giolito going into the 8th. I mean, I think
exactly what Keuchel's going to happen. It's called the Keuchel, isn't it?
Yeah, Keuchel's been better than that this year.
I know.
1.99 ERA.
Yeah. And he's been going deeper. He's been going deeper in the games.
Yeah.
He started the season doing it. But yeah, the White Sox have their bullpen backing him, so they feel great. I mean, they feel great going into game 2.
Simeon and Olsen, wake up.
Yeah.
Olsen, long foul ball yesterday. Add it, half point to the homer draft. Yeah. We'll get there later.
All right, game 3, the Rays versus the Jays. Now we found out that the Jays had the same cute thought process as the Astros did. Let's use, instead of Ryu, we'll save our best starter for game 2. The Astros didn't do that, but they split game 1 with their next 2 best starters, or I don't even know because you still have Walker. But they split it with 2 starters. They go, let's go Shoemaker to Robbie Ray. Both pitched pretty well.
Yeah.
The timing of the Robbie Ray move was a little inopportune, and I'll let Jake speak on that because he was tweeting about it and stuff like that. But the Rays have a Rays baseball game. Snell pitches really good. He allows 1 hit, strikes out 9. He doesn't finish the 6th inning. He has to hand it to the bullpen. But then you got Castillo, Anderson, Fairbanks. And then the Rays, they have some shift beaters. They have a triple and then a wild pitch. They have a walk and then a bomb. This is how you close your eyes and you picture a Rays win.
Yeah, I keep flip-flopping a little bit on this because I think if you're the Jays, you scored a run, and I do think that's important that you didn't leave a goose egg on the board.
It's a close game.
Because if you see that goose egg and then they could carry into tomorrow, you're wondering, are we going to do it? You got one across. The Robbie Ray, Matt Shoemaker, we were talking about what was Matt Shoemaker's leash going to be. He goes 3 innings, shutty, 2 hits, 35 pitches through 3 innings, and they bring in Robbie Ray. So they're trying to do the Framber piggyback that we talked about in the Houston game. And again, we're giving Dusty compliments for it. And hey, Robbie Ray looked pretty good. The one thing that got me, they brought him in. His first batter is Randy Arozarena, who, again, Rays, if you're not familiar, young player. The biggest thing I think you need to know is that he mauls lefties. He has an 8 OPS versus righties, which is good, but he's got a 1.4 OPS versus lefties. So you bring in Robbie Ray, Arozarena puts 1 in the gap. It's a triple. Pass ball, he scores, it's 1-0. And again, tying it to that Reddick play, you're doing this kind of playoff baseball mindset where you're like, is this going to be the difference? It's a 1-0 game through 7, and then in Rays fashion, it's who does it today. Manny Margot after a nice Joey Wendell at bat. That makes it 3-0. With the Rays bullpen, it's near impossible. And hey, we're giving starting pitchers love. We gave Giolito love. Blake Snell, 5.2, 1 hit, 2 walks, 9 Ks. That's dominant in game 1 of a playoff series.
I will say this. Actually, Trev, go. I don't want to go ahead of you.
What do you got, bro? I felt like you're going to talk some shit.
Yeah, I don't like this Rays strategy. If they want to get into the DS and CS, you got to let, Snell hasn't gone 6 innings all season. None of their starters really go deep, and we're seeing the same thing with the Dodgers. And I wonder if when they get to the DS and the CS, there's no off days. So if you're going to rely on your bullpen, you got to have 6 arms that you rely on in close games. So we may see them go, I think you have to let Snell go deeper come the DS and the CS if you want to have your bullpen alive for the World Series. So their bullpen's amazing. This is the Rays strategy. I don't like this strategy when they get to that slog of potentially 12 games in 12 days. But it's fantastic for now. It's a good strategy. I thought Shoemaker, you let him go batter by batter, like the Greinke Framber worked, but Greinke went 4 innings. That's such a difference.
And it's a little tricky because Robbie Ray is traditionally a starter, so you want to give him the clean inning. So I do get it, but not with Arozarena.
Or maybe you could let Shoemaker go and then bridge and Robbie gets the next clean inning. But he's only had 35 pitches. He looked really good, and the piggyback's not going to work when the first guy only goes 3. He needs to go at least 4 or 5.
And the only thing before Trevor gets hot.
sorry, Trev.
Trevor's Rays, his former team that won yesterday. Sorry, Oakland and Minnesota. I will fight you a little bit on pulling Snell there because Bo Bichette's up, runner on base in a 1-0 game. Snell did his job. You have that pen.
I'm fine with it for this game. The scenario helped. If that's their strategy, 5 and getting 3+ from the bullpen every night.
5.2 is a little different than 5.
All right, Trev. Sorry.
I agree with a lot of you guys' points. I'm looking at this team, and you're talking about the strategy they're doing. This reminds me of the 2014, 2015 Royals teams. You better have a lead going into the 6th, 7th inning because you're not going to get a lead from their bullpen.
They just better sweep.
What their strategy is. They have to swing the bats. This team finds ways, like Jake was saying. Who's it going to be today? Okay, last night, Margot comes up with a huge homer. But if you go into a game and it's the 5th, 6th inning, and you're tied or behind with this team, you know it's going to be a lot of work to get that victory. Nick Anderson last night was around the plate a lot. I think a lot of his off speed was ending in the middle of the zone instead of starting in the middle of the zone and ending out of the zone. So he gave up that run to Bichette. Was a sac fly, I believe. But I mean, they mapped these games out and it went exactly how they wanted it to go. And that's kind of what you say almost every dang game with this front office and Cash and what they do. They believe in their process and they're going to do it. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys watched the game, but if they have
the off days in the DS and CS, I think it's the best formula ever. But it's a little tougher when you don't have those unless you sweep, you win in 3, you win in 5, and then you get some off days at the end.
Yeah, I mean, look, You could say that, or you could say they've been doing it all year, and they don't have 3 guys in the bullpen.
No, they have a lot.
They rely on everybody.
They have a
so lot. They can do that. I think one of the things that's missing from everybody talking about this victory was like the positioning. Willie Adames at short made 2 like great plays, but he was positioned there. There was a line drive up the middle, I believe, off Nick Anderson. Boom, he's out, end the inning. Another one. In the 6 hole, Adames right there. You're like, what? Where is this guy playing? He's everywhere, and that's just part of the machine they have going there. I mean, they're going to beat you with like their preparation, their analytics, their positioning, not letting a starter go through the order the 3rd time. I mean, that's their philosophy, basically.
Yeah,
we all know it's pitcher's advantage, neutral, hitter's advantage. When you go through the orders, they don't want to ever give the other team an advantage, and that's what they try to do. And you couldn't, like you said, you couldn't imagine a more Rays victory.
No, even the 2-run home run off A.J. Cole, Joey Wendell. I just watched the at bat again. Joey Wendell had 2 strikes on him. It's a foul ball home run basically, and then Cole stayed pretty far away from the zone after that swing. I think he came back in the first 3-2 pitch, and Wendell fouled it off. Then he draws the walk. Then Margot's up, but Cole and the Jays are really worried about Wendell stealing, and Margot's not like a big homer threat. I think he threw 4 pickoffs, and then finally put one in the zone to Margot, and he crushed it. So Joey Wendell, it's a walk, but he kind of changed that inning there. It was the walk and the distraction of him, the threat of a steal. They don't show up in the box score, but he definitely changed Cole's like mindset on the mound there a little bit. It was pretty good.
Jays 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Alejandro Kirk DHs and goes 1 for 3. By the way, gets the first hit of the game. And something you might want to circle, or if you're a Jays fan, you want to circle. Rowdy Tellez pinch hits. He's been hurt. He doesn't get the start. He gets a hit in his pinch hit at bat. I'd assume he's going to be in the lineup against Glasnow today. And yeah, if you're the Jays, my only thing would be like, don't try to outraise the Rays. The Rays do their thing. If you're the Jays, go out there, hit with your dudes. And again, tough task yesterday, but you were in that game. You pushed one across, and you held the Rays pretty close on Shoemaker, Ray, Cole, Barucki, Hatch.
Yeah.
You got Ryu going. Fight back a little bit. Push one across early.
Triceratops! Oh,
2 minutes. 2 minutes, right? That was a lot of... I'm looking at their lineup right now, and I blanked that Glasnow was starting today.
Yeah.
They got a ton of righties in that lineup. It's going to be a tough one for the Jays today.
Yeah, the Adames catch is a really nice guy. I just went back and watched it, Trev, and that's probably a run. Makes it 3-2 with a runner
One up
on.
the middle or in the 6 hole?
In the 6 hole. Yeah.
Yeah, he could
Yeah,
play,
that was like 2 hits and then a sac fly, and then that. So it would have been like a little bit of a rally as well for the Rays. Jake, I have some for you because I think we have some rollover time.
Yeah.
Jake and I love some good early settler names. These lineups are full of early settler names.
Yeah.
Like Brandon Lau. I don't know if Brandon's an early settler name, so I'm going to cancel that one.
Nate Lau.
Joseph Wendell.
Yeah.
Matthew Shoemaker is a real sneaky, very good early settler name.
Nick Anderson.
Peter Fairbanks, Nick Anderson.
Oh, kind of like Robbie Ray.
Robert Ray. Yeah. Just tons. Tom Hatch is the all-time early settler name.
He's the number 1 reliever out of the early settlers team.
This is the best early settler game we've had. I think it's a lot of.
What's AJ Cole's real first name?
Andrew.
Yeah, Joseph Wendell's great.
Joseph Wendell, Andrew Cole. I mean, it's a lot of the Jays, right? Or we're doing the Jays pitchers.
Yeah.
Besides Ryan Barucki. Tons. Good
Rowdy
job.
Tellez is like a nickname for
Alejandro Kirk.
Someone that you're looking for, like an outlaw. You gotta go find that.
Yeah.
Rowdy Tellez got a big bounty on his head.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy.
Yeah.
Huge.
He's a bank robber.
He's like a bandit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last game of the day. Have we come in early on all of these so far? We're crushing it. Doing a good job.
Right on time.
Tight.
I just had
Yankees.
I didn't say.
What was that?
It's inappropriate.
Oh, about sex?
ejaculating
With a sex
early.
joke. Yeah.
Premature? Yeah, we call that the Jake.
Got a couple
Not
of
him, though,
those.
Jake Sanderson.
Everybody does. Like, just have a conversation about it.
All right. The fourth game of the day was the primetime game. It was the pitching matchup of the decade.
Yeah.
No, it was really good, though. Bieber versus Cole. Yankees have their way with Bieber. I'm still a little confused about what actually happened, if it was pitching poorly or a fantastic approach, because ESPN gave out this one stat that I'm now like leaning on, even though I think it's a dumb stat. But the Yankees banged, man. They flipped the switch, and Garrett Cole did what he's getting paid to do. It's a scary game one. If you thought the Yankees were going to roll over and die, it is only one game, so I'm coming back down to earth. But Trev, can I tell you the stat they showed on ESPN that's been boggling my mind? They called it non-competitive pitches, and it was pitches that are 18 inches away from the zone. And they said Shane Bieber has the most swings and misses on non-competitive pitchers out of any pitcher. And he had like 55.
It's like double.
And the second place had like 28 or 32 or something like that. I never heard this stat, and I kind of called bullspit when they showed it. I was like, dude, that's pretty arbitrary and weird. But then I watched Shane Bieber pitch the rest of the game. His breaking stuff was never near the zone. People were saying the Yankees were spitting on it or had a fantastic approach, or I'm not giving the Yankees credit. Like, they weren't even chase-worthy pitches. And I think when he did throw his breaking ball close to the zone, he got swings and misses. Like, I can remember some on Voit, some on Judge, some on Glaber. I think Gio chased a couple times as well. Stanton for sure. So I heard a lot of people saying the Yankees he was tipping maybe, or the Yankees just had like a fantastic scouting report, which might be good. But I didn't even think that Bieber's pitches were competitive. And I think then the relievers came in, and it was the most amount of non-competitive pitches I've seen a team throw just away from the zone. All their breaking stuff out of the hand was a ball. So do you know that stat? Have you seen it? Did you have any thoughts on that aspect of what or your thoughts on just what happened with Bieber?
I didn't see the stat, but I mean, look, if you look at the Yankees lineup, they'll do that to a pitcher. I mean, you're trying to be perfect against this lineup. When you try to be perfect and make perfect pitches, you're going to start them, on the outer parts of the zone. They're going to run away way off of the zone. When pitchers are good and you're throwing your off speed, where you want it, you present it as a strike, and then it's not a strike. When your fastball is good, you present it as a ball, and then it's a strike. That's what Bieber does. I mean, he makes you chase pitches because they look different coming out of the hand. But last night, like you said, trying to be too fine. When a pitcher has a good off-speed pitch like he does, and it's not starting where it needs to start, it is an easy pitch to lay off of. It's so nasty that like you said, it's out of the hand of ball, and that just happened way too many times last night. But you have to give credit to the Yankee hitters. I mean, they just came and did it, dude. And like
when he was in the zone,
waiting for this to happen.
They banged. Judge now has 3 home runs in 3 wild card games.
First pitch, right?
First pitch. And I think in the A's wild card game, it was first or second pitch. It was first inning as well. Judge loves those fuck you home runs. We kind of said that all season on the pregame show, and I was telling you, Trev, like when he comes back from injury, he usually hits a home run first game or second game, just like fuck you guys.
And
I'm Judge.
Judge's playoff resume is starting to get pretty impressive, Trevor. He has 9 home runs in 28 games. That's
I think it's like 19 RBIs too.
Yeah, he's starting to do it, and I think that was the big thing. You come into a playoff games, the nerves, Bieber, all of it. DJ LeMahieu, I'd said the Tim Anderson thing before, batting title champ, and this is kind of like, 2 teams come together. Here's the team from the East playing the team from the Central. Here's our batting title champion. He slaps one to right off Bieber, the ace, the Cy Young winner, and then big Aaron Judge goes yard. It's 2-0. You can exhale a little bit. And yeah, Jim, I think the Bieber thing, we're overanalyzing. I think it was a guy's first start. He does end up with 7 punchies and 4.2. I do think he was trying to be a little too cute. And the Yankees did a good job not getting into any of those bad pitches, because you're right, they did feel non-competitive, a lot of them.
Even the 0-2 pitches, like it was like Hicks, even Simber to Hicks. I think it was Simber, right?
Yeah, I mean Simber was done. I mean Simber's,
but I'm just saying,
Simber's coming in and doing voodoo on the mound, and so the Yankees they press some buttons. They look great. They shuffle the lineup a little bit. Luke Voigt gets an RBI double to make it 3. And then the offense just starts going nuts. Gleyber Torres with a 4-hit day. It's a little cheeky. He has 2 infield singles, but he hits a home run. And Gleyber hasn't shown a ton of that this year, so is he on now? And then, I mean, the big thing, Brett Gardner was controversial because him or Clint Frazier, Gardy's been hot, the guard dog. And he hits, what could have been 2 home runs. And the fact we've gotten this far without talking about Garrett Cole is insulting.
Yeah, I mean that's what they pay Cole to do. He buckled down when he needed to. It's good. He threw some breaking balls that were like tight.
He looked really good.
Sharp.
And this Indians team is not built to like come back from a large deficit. Like, that's just not how they're going to win ball games.
It's a pitching team. I mean, yeah,
they got to align your pitching. You have guys that can do it. You try to get the bottom of the order on for the top of your order. That's how they're going to win baseball games. They're not going to win baseball games having to overcome 5, 6, 7 run deficits. So they got to have the starters do it. Obviously, Bieber, just wasn't his start.
No.
But now you're fighting for your life just one day after, you're kind of coming into the postseason feeling really good about yourself. You get knocked in the mouth by the Yankees and by Garrett Cole, and now you got an elimination game next day.
Yeah. And then speaking of the Indians lineup, Josh Naylor gets 4 hits.
Yeah.
Do you remember me telling you to watch out for him, Trev?
I don't.
I did. Oh.
That might have been on a different show.
No. I told you how he gives up home runs to the bottom of the order, and I have Naylor pegged as my scary guy. But Naylor has a great game, screaming and yelling. And then Ramirez does get their RBI in this game. He came up with runners on, and he did come through. It wasn't the 3-run home run that would have tied the game. That had me very scared. It was a hard hit ball down the line. But that's the guy that the Yankees are going to have to worry about. He's on fire, and he did. Was that his only hit? Let me look at box score. Yeah, that was his one hit.
He had a walk.
The bottom of the lineup had 6 of the 8 hits. 4 of those were Josh Naylor. Yeah, it's crazy.
Is this a must-win game for the Yankees? Now that you know that Hap is probably going to start Game 3.
No. Hap's starting Game 3, and he could go 2 innings. Like it's like and that doesn't like give me the oh no, Hap has to go 6 strong. Like he's going to start the first inning, and we'll see from there.
It depends on how today goes too.
You could also see funny business. I mean, think about all the piggyback starts. That could be Hap Davey pretty quick. That could be a lot of things. So
Hap Davey, Monty. It can be a lot of guys.
I just think it goes, again, these 3-game series, we haven't seen them, so I don't really know. I think, momentum could be snatched easily today. Are the A's going to be going into a Game 3 at home, and having taken down Keuchel? The Yanks, again, we've talked a lot about playoff Tanaka. We'll see what that looks like today. And again, Cleveland, it's kind of funny because these teams are going to look at games differently. Like, this is an elimination game for Cleveland. If Carrasco somehow doesn't have it, they're going to go to their pen instantly. It's going to be Plutko. It's going to be Savale. It's going to be, they didn't use their best guys last night.
I think they're going to have everybody. Plesac is going to have spikes on in the pen.
Yeah.
It's a great call for the pregame show. Whoever's down, this is
it.
Every single pitcher is going to have his spikes on. There is nobody sitting in the dugout without his spikes on.
Whoever's one up, they're not going to be as quick to go to their bullpen because they want to save them for the potential Game 3 when they need to go all hands in. So it's a very interesting point. We'll talk about that more on the pregame show, which is starting in like 10 minutes if you're a Patreon.
Every Yankee starter had a hit except for Hicks, who had 2 walks.
8 out of 9 scored a run. They banged all night, and that was good.
And
they saved their bullpen, Trev. So, like, today, they can throw Chad Green, Britton, Chapman, and those guys can still go Game 3. So, the fact that Cole went 7 and Sessa was able to get the last 2, And that's why I love the Astros as well, because they won only using 2 starters. They didn't burn any pen. So the Astros and the Twins are going all hands on deck, but the Astros, like the Yankees, they can use all their relievers and still use them game 3. They're not really worried about that. 2 games in a row ain't nothing. So it worked out. And then
clean defense by the Yankees. That needs to be mentioned. They have not been doing that of late.
Most errors in the major leagues.
Are we gonna let Gary Sanchez play today? Or are we just gonna Does Tanaka have his own freaking catcher too? Or
because the Twins don't have many catchers.
I'm sick of that.
Gary,
you don't want to be compared to the Twins in that regard. But
no, Gary should get the start today. And Tanaka's been throwing to Gary for the last 4 seasons, and they have a really cute relationship, and I love it. So
what did Higashioka do yesterday?
1 for 5. It was an infield single. It was kind of like a backbreaker for the Indians. Yeah, he did just enough to not be problematic, and he did just enough to not be a problem about Gary starting tomorrow.
He would have had an error if Glaber's deke didn't work really well on the base runner.
And by the way, I just think this needs to be emphasized more because I don't think the stat line was actually said. 7 innings pitched, 13 Ks from Garrett Cole. I mean, Giolito gave Snell love. That's the craziest line.
All right. Hey, this episode was brought to you by a ton of our newest patrons. They're the best, and we love them. I'm going to shout them all out. We got JS11. I think that's Jake Storielli 11. Thank you, Jake, for signing up. We got Brett, Matt Haggerty. Matthew Haggerty's a good early settler name. Then we got CJ, the Young God. Not an early settler name. It's very new age. Ryan Hovrat. Jake L, Austin Saranana, Brandon Nimmons, Marlon, Alex Premisel. Shit, guys, you guys got hard names. Chef Murray, Luis Ortiz, Catherine Brinkley, Jacob Jacob Haslock, I'm going with Weston Armstrong, Chris Booze, the local blues bag, Ian Malmos, Steve, Ricky Johnson, Richard Johnson, early settler name, Jordan Nedlin, Robert Ferris, Melissa Caba, Robbie Ferris, Thomas Limar, Ryan Conklin, Jordan Grayson, and Luke Bruck. Thank you guys very much. The patrons, if you're not sure what it gets, it's $2 a month. And you get to hang out with us. We got a lot of people in the chat. Jose Abreu, MVP. Happy for you, dude. Big 2-run home run. Elvin Liu. Elvin, formerly known as Tree Guy 98. Sup, Elvin? Norm Shaver. Norm, your game starts in an hour. I bet you're shaking. We got to go. We got 8 games to preview on the pre-game show today. If you want to watch live, the patrons that are watching live right now, it's free for everyone. If you want to watch on future days, free for everyone. Live on Periscope, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and then it does get posted on the podcast apps under a new stream, the Talkin Baseball pregame show. 8 games. Let's go get it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Jake, do you have any last words?
Enjoy. One of the craziest baseball days in history. Sounds dramatic, but honestly true. 8 playoff games one day.
Yeah. And we have 4 potential elimination games.
Bang.
Bang. Ooh. We're out.